Hi guys, this is Holistic Health Harry, Alkalized to Realize talk show, joined by a very special guest this early morning, Rhiannon van der Griffin. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm excited to have you on. You've come off my Facebook, seen you recently on my Facebook, checked out your profile, like what you're talking about, like the encouragement, and I thought your knowledge would be just crazy. Your story is really inspiring. So I think it'd be a good place to start with us is asking you, how did you end up in the place you are now in your health journey? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your story?
Okay, so it's really hard to pinpoint how far to go back because trauma and hurt goes back so far. But I suppose you could say when I was around 25, I I'd got to a place where I was really fed up of having an eating disorder, and just being miserable in my life. I feel like I was always kind of like searching for a way to eat that made me feel well or helped me to maintain a healthy body, or a healthy looking body. So all through my teen years, I had anorexia and bulimia.
Mm.
And it kind of like continued into my adult life and kind of like came in at random times when I was really stressed or upset. And I always felt like there was just, whenever I ate, I was completely unsatisfied. So it's like the binging always came. I was also kind of like, I didn't want to eat because after I ate, I bloated and felt really uncomfortable and heavy and just lethargic. So I would try to not eat as much as possible during the day, because it would stop me from wanting to do things. And obviously, like, the more I just restricted, the more I was kind of like damaging my relationship with myself, and my worth, and my kind of like being open to nourishment and life as well, because I didn't have the energy to do it. But at the same time, I just didn't want to feel the way I felt after I ate. So I suppose, like, I just got to a point where I was just so sick of being sick. I was just sick of being miserable and being in this kind of like unstable place with food and with life and with my mood. Like, I just didn't know what kind of day I was going to have, whether I was going to go out and have a really lovely day or whether I was going to be completely overwhelmed by eating disorder, So I kind of just started searching for the answer. And I've always been very sporty. So, and like I love kind of like biology and science and things. So I know a lot about nutrition and the body and things.
You're a bit of a geek then.
Background.
You're a little bit.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was very mainstream. It was all about like protein and everything. Like, like really hard on like, you have to eat loads of protein and all of that sort of thing. And that kind of like didn't work very well for me. So I just kept on searching and searching. And I came across a vegan documentary. So I find this funny because I was searching for health, but I actually fell into animal ethics.
Okay.
And after I watched all of that, I was in tears and I decided to go vegan, which opened up this whole other world of nutrition. So I kind of just started trying to be
how old were you when you watched that documentary and started this?
I think like 25-ish.
Okay.
So that was 6 years ago now. So I went vegan, searched for vegan nutrition and stuff. I was still very high protein based. And then I found like raw till 4 type stuff, did that, blew up like a balloon. And then I connected with someone who was really into raw food. Well, actually, I tried raw food first on my own and I couldn't stick to it. And then I tried it with my friend at the time's advice and everything clicked, and I have loved raw food since and just been completely in love with it. And so that's kind of how I fell into like raw food, but also the emotional healing side of it came about that, because when you're eating raw food, it's very light food and it's not very distracting. It's very low stimulating. So you find that your emotions just come to the surface, and you don't really have anything to shut up the voices. Like, you don't come home after a long hard day and then eat a big stodgy meal and everything shuts up. Like, it's not like that. Everything is still so literally so raw. So you have to kind of find other ways to deal with your issues, and that's where I found inner work and emotional healing. And they kind of come hand in hand for me. To like, emotional healing allows me to be raw, and raw food allows me to emotionally heal.
Like what you just said there, yeah, definitely. So they work hand in hand, and it's like a light, condensed light, sunlight energy, isn't it? All these foods, so you're getting that nutrition in. It's making you see the truth. You can't run away. When a lot of people, like you said, they're just going to eat and dull down their emotions, because life is tough for everybody on the planet. We've all got issues, we've all got problems we're dealing with, and so they're just dumbing it down. But that's not solving the problem. So you took these foods, and it did. Can I ask you a question now? I'm genuinely curious. Was it because I know with a lot of women now in our culture, it's body positivity, is a lack of like, is that what made you go into the bulimic state and anorexic? Like, you were very conscious by society, pushed this consciousness, your body wasn't, or you're not good enough as a human being, I guess, like how you looked.
Well, it all kind of came about like I did gymnastics when I was a teenager, and when I went through puberty, I just grew into a woman. And I just started getting comments about it. Like, my gym coaches would literally, I remember her saying to me, "Rhiannon, how do you somersault with such large breasts like that?" And it just made me like, whoa, do I? Like, I never realized that. Like, it was just comments like that. And then one of the younger girls turned around to me and said, "How does she climb the rope? She's so fat." And I kind of just remember, like, I remember the exact moment. I looked in the mirrors at my old gym, and I was just like, looked at myself. And that was the first time I had ever looked at myself and thought, is there something wrong with me that I can't see? Literally. And from then on, it was almost like this body dysmorphia, where I just didn't know if I could trust what I was seeing, because everyone else around me was saying there was something different about me, something that should be holding me back, that I can't see. So from then on, it was like, and then when my boyfriend went away for a month, I decided to like do something for him and like lose loads of weight, and just get in shape. So I was like, it's really weird. This was literally my like 16-year-old self. I actually started eating raw, but I had no idea about raw, and I wasn't vegan or anything. I literally just followed my instincts, said, well, what's healthy? Fruit and vegetables. So I pretty much just ate like fruit and vegetables. I think I was eating some eggs and stuff with salad in the evening. And then I was just running every single day. And I lost loads of weight. And then he came home and he broke up with me. And
that's a good one.
I know. And literally, he was my boyfriend for 2 years. Like my first love. We were literally like wanted to get married and everything. And then he said he loved me too much and it scared him and we were too young. So he broke up with me. And yeah, it completely shattered my heart, obviously. And I think after this whole, like, the insecurities had come in from the gymnastics and the body critique that I'd been getting. And then at the same time, this, like, him breaking up with me, my kind of like trying to control the way that I looked, and this kind of like, I don't know, I suppose this weight loss that I had got, I couldn't keep that up because I was so upset. So I couldn't go running constantly because I was so upset. And I'd got to the point where I'd restricted so much because I wasn't doing like raw food like the right way. It was literally like I was just trying to eat as little as possible, really. I didn't realize that was an eating disorder at the time or anything. It was only after that we broke up that it actually turned into an eating disorder, where it was like I just,
that must have sent you over the edge then. Breaking up with him must have sent you into that, like,
and it just spiraled from there. And it was just like, and then I just got so hungry that I needed to eat something like properly. And when I did eat something, it was just like I was petrified of putting the weight back on. So it was like it was that desperate battle in my mind of wanting to eat but can't eating, and that's where it all just came from, this hell on earth basically. And it just, it broke so much of my life down. My family relationships, no one trusted me anymore. I didn't trust myself.
Is that because you were lying at this stage? Is that why you were lying to yourself and other people?
And stealing people's food as well.
Really?
like, do you know what I mean? Like the food would just go missing and they'll be like, where is it? And I felt so embarrassed and so ashamed. Like the shame I felt was just insane. And it just, yeah, it broke down my relationships with my sister. Was like, we were so close, and it impeded on her life really badly as well, and made her life hell. And it was like everyone was constantly worrying about me, and it was like I didn't want the attention, and everyone else was upset that I was getting that attention and they weren't getting the care that they needed. It was like it was just horrible for everyone, me and everyone else. It was just horrible for us all. We all
Isn't it insane, mate? Like addictions, and like, 'cause I've been addicted to lying to myself, and I was lying to myself the longest time. And I find people with the greatest stories tend to be the greatest warriors, like yourself here today. And like, what you've been through has molded you. And we talk about spirals and going downhill, but ultimately, and I know that what's made you who you are today, this awesome person, is that situation and that peak of aloneness, which you've had to learn to rise above, right? It's kind of made you who you are.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I don't regret anything that I went through, as much as I feel, I feel bad for the hurt that I've created. But at the same time, everything that I've gone through, it's like there are people going through that right now. And they're the people that I want to show that, there is this other way, that you can have a body that looks and feels healthy and still eat and nourish yourself. And you can come from that place of like literally just wanting to fade into nothing and rebuild yourself in a positive way and learn to love yourself unconditionally in the way that a parent would love their child unconditionally and nourish their child unconditionally. Like, you can heal. And that's why I am so kind of upfront about the issues that I've been through. Like, it's quite embarrassing, a lot of the stuff that I've done, and a lot of, like, I still have a lot of shame to work through. But if my story can help people and help inspire someone not like to get out of that place, then it's how could I possibly feel regret for what I went through and the pain that I went through, when my pain is like saving someone else,
Definitely. And it'd be good kind of talk to now as well. Like, you talked about raw foods making you transition to emotional healthiness, ultimately kind of automatically helping with how you saw yourself, your emotional health, right? But at the same time, were you doing actual emotional work? And do you want to talk a little bit about what kind of things you were doing, emotional work on top of the raw foods that were really helping get yourself out of that situation?
Okay, yeah. So there's actually there's probably about 12 different aspects of healing that I've done, and within those aspects there are different techniques that you can do. So the first one is like mindfulness. So I started to kind of like embrace that moment of right now. A lot of the times, especially like with eating disorders or with any kind of like self-hate or anxiety or anything, you're living in the past and the future, because you're worrying about all the stuff you did, you're panicking about it all, and you're feeling regret and sadness and shame and sorrow and everything. And at the same time, you're living in the future and you're paranoid that bad things are going to happen, or you're worried that you're going to put on loads of weight, or that you have not enough money for that bill coming out, or whatever it is. Like, you're panicking. So that mindfulness brought me back to the current moment and tuned me back into myself, which allowed me to kind of like just be calmer and to actually appreciate the world around me a lot more. And at the same time, that mindfulness kind of makes you reconnect inside, which is so important for like any kind of healing that you do. Like, the first step is that you need to be able to go into that place where you connect with yourself. And raw food is like, it's one of the best things I found, like to help you do that, because there's no distractions really. Like, you can you feel that light, that openness, and you feel like there's that clarity.
Definitely. We know there's a lot going on with raw foods, isn't it? There's light energy, it's condensed, it goes through digestive system quickly, it's free of toxins, it removes the toxins, it just heals the physical body at so many levels, right?
Yeah. So I'll try and like summarize these 12 aspects. I won't go through them all, but I'll say the key ones. So like inner child healing. That's a huge, huge one. So
Mm.
that was all about reconnecting with my past self. And that actually helped me empathize with myself a lot more. I've always been very good at empathizing with other people and understanding their feelings and caring for them. But then inner child healing helps you to see yourself as that hurt child who was suffering, and you're able to see how your current present pain is the exact same as that inner child's pain, because that pain is literally where that pain has grown from. It's a branch of the same tree, you know. So what you do is you come back to almost like that trunk of the tree, that root of the tree, that seed, and you heal that, so that that kind of like grows and ripples out into freedom in your present life. And it allows you to kind of like almost like reprogram that situation in your mind, and to see it from a more positive perspective, and to literally connect you back to yourself. Because when you're being horrible to yourself, and when you're hating yourself, you're disconnected to yourself. That's the bottom line. So it's all about finding ways to reconnect to that. And inner child healing is one of the most powerful things I've ever found. Cool. To reconnect you to you, especially if you are like a gentle parent or an attachment parent and you've studied attachment parenting techniques, because it teaches you non-violent communication, how to you know, empathize, and like the correct ways to say it without undermining people, without denying their feelings, without attacking their character. Attachment parenting is fantastic, and I'd studied that since my daughter was born, and she's 8 now. So for 8 years I've studied attachment parenting and inner child healing, and literally since she was a baby, which I'm very lucky I found it when she was a baby. So I've used that with my inner child healing to connect to my inner child healing in that way that literally is all about connection, and it's all about giving them exactly what they need emotionally in that moment, and helping to diffuse their feelings, help them feel safe and loved and lovable. And combining that is just phenomenal, and has been one of the most pivotal things in my healing, because it just ripples out love into your whole life, basically. It's incredible.
Yeah, I definitely agree with inner child healing, all this stuff. And I'd say quickly that attachment parent wise, I'll be honest, my dad used to belt us, and quite hard too. So I've got a lot of healing that I'm recovering from. And I don't agree with the basis of just from my own parents' experience and how it's molded my personality and has made me quite shy. I definitely don't agree with doing that on my children. That's how we learn. But also I recognize that I've healed a lot, but I still obviously got that issue with my father and my child being scared of him, fearful with the belt and stuff, and used to leave red marks on my tummy, and it was fear. So yeah, I don't want that. And it's really important to heal that child and not to do that to your kids, you know, even smacking, I think, you know, even these kind of things. And attachment parenting is the way, definitely.
Yeah. Like I don't do punishments. I've never done punishments with my daughter. I never take something away from her if she has behaved in a way that I don't like, or, you know, I think it's important to have respect for them as another person. Like if my friend did something I didn't like, I wouldn't steal their phone. Do you know what I mean? I would discuss it with them because I care about their feelings. And if there's an issue, I respect our relationship and I want to sort things out. I don't want to just be spiteful back or try and control them. And it's that same kind of respect for my daughter, is that, you know, and I think it's really important to model that respect. You know, it's important to show them what an appropriate response to conflict or disagreement is, you know, and theft is not the answer, or punishing or revenge. Do you know what I mean? Punishment is almost like teaching them to revenge tactics. So I'm more about communication, empathy, and you know, working as a team. Like I want us both to find a way that we're happy, you know, a compromise. And that's the way we kind of work together. And it's really worked well. She's an amazing person and we have this incredible connection. And I'm so absolutely over the moon that I get to be her mum. And it's just a dream, to be honest. Obviously, like, we have our moments, but generally, like, our connection is just incredible, you know, and I'm so grateful for it. So grateful.
Yeah. That's really beautiful and powerful when women are working on themselves so much and they're in a child and doing all the things that you know. And yeah, that is so beautiful. It really is. So quickly, it's mindfulness, inner child work. What's the other ones?
There's gratitude, emotional freedom technique,
Cool. Yeah.
There's openness, forgiveness, grounding, finding your passion, following your heart, the gift of giving. These are like sections of my course, because I've done an inner work course, like an emotional healing course, that I put together to help teach people how to do these different things. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if that's 12. I think that's it.
It's definitely an amazing course. We'll definitely talk about that at the end. But I mean, that's profound healing, what you're talking about there, going through the steps of emotional healing. Because I've done it, like, not systematically. I've just done it, figured my way from CBT, because I used to be really negative. So I used to have dark depression, not want to be here, suicidal, blah, 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 low self-esteem, negative attention. And I just fixed myself because no one wanted to help me. So I just worked on my brain, my negativity. But I recognized, whilst not doing it in a systematic, like, by the book way, I was unconsciously doing it correct. So now I've really healed my brain to a point where now I'm really happy. Now I'm connecting with people. Now I'm being grateful and spontaneously, sometimes without even trying, although obviously if I try, I get better. But like now I'm just like doing all the right things. And I do think it's powerful, but sometimes I wish, I had a method. And so I do prove, I think it's really powerful for people to have a method of a structure to help them emotionally. Like you do this, this and that, and you work a little bit on each day and you get a bit stronger.
Yeah. I didn't actually, when I was doing it, when I was healing, like, well, it's an ongoing thing, I still do it, but when I was learning about it, there was no system to it. It like just came up when it came up, or I would just discover something else. And what actually happened once is I was just sitting on my sofa, and then it like almost like just felt like the energy of the universe or whatever just started channeling through me, and I just started realizing that it was all connected, and like there was like an order to it. There was a way that you could do the inner healing that would be more efficient, like when you started with like emotional freedom technique, because that just frees the block so you're able to do other stuff. And then it's the mindfulness, because mindfulness is really needed for that initial connection, and you're like, to bring you to that moment, and for to do the meditative practices that I teach, that you do in other stuff.
Okay. How do you practice the mindfulness? How are you practicing it? Like, are you focusing on the breath, or is it
there's literally, like, in my course I think I give maybe 8 different mindful techniques that you can do, maybe more. Like there's so many different ones, because you could literally be mindful about anything to practice. Like you could be mindful about opening your front door, or you could be mindful about brushing your teeth, to feel every sensation, to listen. There's so many different things. For someone who suffered with an eating disorder, mindful eating is incredible, because you actually start to reconnect to your food and feel grateful for it. So like you're able to start appreciating it more, and like putting a different energy into it, because often, like, if you've struggled with binge eating or anything like that, it's literally like there's no love going into that food whatsoever, and then you consume that and then you want it out, and it's just awful. So it's like, it's completely understandable why you would feel like that, if the energy you're putting into it is so erratic and desperate.
Would you also be correcting the actual belief systems about food and not eating, and believing anorexia also with the mindfulness? Like if you're focusing, of course, actually correct the beliefs completely, right?
Yeah, and you can start to see the food in a different way. Something that helped me a lot with like the kind of the anorexia stuff is actually learning about what's in the raw food, like the vitamins and the minerals, and what it does to my body. So instead of seeing calories, you actually see nutrients, and you can develop a different relationship with food. So instead of it being like this scary evil thing that's going to hurt you, you actually see it as something that's going to help build you and help allow you to live. But it's you can't just do that on its own. You have to at the same time be putting yourself in a place that will accept love. You have to see the food as love. You have to put love energy into the food, and at the same time you have to work on yourself so that you feel like you deserve that nourishment, because that's half of it. A lot of the issues with anorexia and bulimia is you just want to die, and like you don't, but you do. Like you just want to be as small and disconnected, and like for me it was like this, I just wanted to waste away. I just didn't want any attention. I didn't want anyone to see me. I just wanted to be like almost like nothing, like this tiny small little fragile thing that just didn't have to live. It was really, really strange. And I'm sorry if I'm put a trigger on.
No, I can relate to everything you're saying. Like it's
so it's really important to, you know, heal that relationship with yourself before you even kind of like can accept that food. It's like, so half of it is, yes, seeing that food as love, and appreciating it and seeing it as nourishment, but you have to be in a place where you feel like you deserve nourishment to even accept that, because it needs to have that two parts. So that's why for me it's very much a marriage of that emotional healing and the raw food. I couldn't have one without the other. You know, I actually always say self-hate will bring you to raw, but self-love will keep you there.
Oh, I like that. Wait, so self-hate will bring you to raw, and what is the other bit? I like
self-love will keep you there.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Very true. And it's like a compounding cycle that will bring you up, and the emotional work will take you higher, and you just like go round and round in an awesome circle of love and have high energy, and it's like awesome. Yeah,
like you can't stay raw unless you're in a place where you're accepting nourishment. Otherwise you'll just do it restrictively, and then it won't last, basically.
Definitely. Incredibly powerful. And I agree. One thing I've noticed certainly with people that don't stick on the physical health protocols is they don't do the emotional work at the same time. There is a few people in our communities that we're aware of that they'll just work on the physical health, but I can see them moaning. I can see them not enjoying the process of the amazing things they're doing. For example, they will be more disciplined than me, and they will have more fasting, more raw, they'll be more hardcore, but then they will be miserable. And I'll be like, well, that's because you're not doing the emotional work combined with the physical health. And it's so important to have one. You can't have one without the other. It just doesn't work. Like it really doesn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of the issues as well come from that inconsistency. Like there's a lot of people just jumping from one thing to the other, trying to search for the right thing, which in a lot of ways is really good. But at the same time, if there's something that I've learned, it's that consistency is really important. And it's very kind of like, if I would like, because I've done this in the past where I've tried a bit more high fat and I've tried a bit more low fat. Like I've recently worked with a running coach, and he was very pressuring me to eat more fats. So I kind of like bowed to the pressure, and I just and generally he just wanted me to eat loads in general, which done my head in, because like you don't need to eat as much as people need to eat on a raw lifestyle. Like after a while you like, I think it's like your digestive system just gets more efficient, or your body in general just gets more efficient, so you actually find your body kind of utilizes the nutrients a lot more efficiently, and you don't actually need to be constantly eating. But yeah, like, and I started eating more fats than anyway with him, and then when I've like come back to low fat, it's just like I feel better. But that kind of like that inconsistency of jumping from high fat to low fat, sorry, I got hair in my mouth, has been really hard to kind of like I feel destabilized, and I feel like my body's just craving that stability again, you know, like it wants a bit more of that routine. But at the same time it's important to flow, but I think it's important to be quite consistent with your,
like you said, that consistency is key.
Do you know what I mean? To tune into what actually works for you, but and to find consistency within that. You know, I think when you're jumping from this fast to that fast, this cleanse to binge eating to, it's that inconsistency can throw you off, and then you get confused and you don't know what to do. I think it's quite important to try and like just calm down a little bit and take your time with healing. You know,
I'm thinking about that a lot lately. Even for myself, I learned most of the stuff I know from my own personal experiences and mistakes and accidents. And one of them, I'm still not stuck on, not perfect, but like I've noticed there's a lot of information on the internet, on the YouTube, on Facebook coming up, like my recommends. And there's so many good videos. I get overwhelmed sometimes when I'm not taking care of myself. I'm like, I'm like this, everyone's like this. There is so much information out there. Like, do this, do that, try this, Harry, try that, try this one, try that one. I'm like, calm down. When at my best, when I'm meditating, I'm like, calm down, because we're all getting overwhelmed with like, try this, try that, do this one works, this one, wrong information.
Oh my gosh.
So we got to like
absolutely, like, and do you know what, I stopped following raw vegans. I had to stop.
Delete them all off your Facebook and like.
No, I used to watch a load of YouTube stuff, and I used to follow a lot of people and take on board what they were doing. And do you know what? A lot of my life has spent trying to eat the way someone else has eaten because they seem to be healthy and happy. And you know, because I have a raw food course as well. In my raw food course, I teach like, I don't want to say eat this. You can't eat X, Y, Z every single day. Or I give like an example food plan, but I'm very upfront about it's an example. It's not what I recommend you eat. It's not exactly what it's like an example of what I might eat in a typical week, but it varies. And one of the main things that I teach in my raw food course is follow your body. I don't eat things like broccoli or cabbage because it flares up my digestive tract like crazy. But then I have a lot of issues with disordered eating in the past, so I have a very sensitive digestive system, and I have to go easy, which is why fresh fruit, juicy fruit and tender greens is perfect for me because it's so gentle on your body. But like, just because I don't eat that doesn't mean that won't be helpful to you right now. You know, and you have to have that tuning in with your body, and that's why I've stopped following other people on social media and trying to eat the way that they eat. Like, I took inspiration from them, but I didn't eat like, you know, some people are having lots of fats in the evening, or you know, they're having like green salads all in the daytime. Like, that just doesn't work for me. It's not wrong for them, but it's not right for me right now, currently. And I really press this in my course and try and teach people not just how to eat raw, but actually how to tune in with themselves so that they can sustain this long term, because it's so important to listen to your body when your body is saying, I'm craving green leafy vegetables, or when your body is craving, I want high vitamin C foods, or when it's saying, I actually need calories, can you eat some bananas, you know? And when we honor those bodily signals, we actually allow ourselves to succeed on raw a lot easier. You know, if your body's begging you for high vitamin C and you're just eating bananas and bananas and bananas all day, you're never going to be satisfied, because your body's going, vitamin C please, and you're just eating bananas, which is very low vitamin C. So really, you could have eaten a meal of oranges, which is lower in calories, but you would have felt so satisfied, you know. And that's a lot of the reasons why some people actually put on a lot of weight with raw food, either because they're overeating with nuts or stodgy gourmet raw, which is not what I recommend, or they're they're not listening to their bodies, and they're just eating bananas until they've eaten 3,000 calories of bananas all day, and they actually needed 2,000 calories of bananas, but with a salad, or with a green smoothie, or with some oranges, or with some mangoes, you know. So it's really, really important to tune into your body. Don't copy what I'm eating, because I'm tuning into my body. You know, you need to tune in with your body and eat what
within the confines of, we know some things are good for us. I know what you mean. Within the confines of some things, there is a lot of variations that we need to consider, right?
What do you mean?
As in, we know that some things aren't very good for us. For example, drinking diet soda, drinking fizzy drinks.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about within the raw food world.
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant. Within the confines of what is good, there is a lot of intuitive eating going on. So yeah.
I just mean, like, if I'm eating a melon for breakfast, and then a couple of hours later I'm having a green smoothie, and then a couple of hours later I'm having some peaches. Someone else might eat that, and by the time they get to lunchtime, or even dinner time, they're like, I'm starving, I need to have rice, you know. Whereas they might be in a place where they really need to top up their minerals, and avoiding, like, not having that melon first thing, and actually just going straight to a really big green smoothie with extra greens in than I had would have actually worked better for them. So what I'm saying is, like, not that I'm not saying that raw food doesn't work for everyone, because I actually think raw food is incredible, and I think everyone can benefit from incorporating either a fully raw vegan diet or more raw. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying, like, literally to copy what I eat meal by meal.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like gravitate to raw, fresh fruits and vegetables, but at the same time, you have to eat in a way that honors your body, because, like, I think we're all just kind of like it's almost like we're trying to be someone else and trying to jump on someone else's life or jump on someone else's happiness. And I'm literally guilty of that. I look at someone else's life sometimes and I'm like, oh, I want that. And you try and almost like be like that. Whereas the inner work that I do, and the raw food way that I eat, this intuitive kind of raw food eating, it's very tuned in with yourself, which is what we all need to do a lot more of. Stop looking outwardly to people and trying to be them, but be you. You know, and honor your body, because your body is talking to you all the time. And like I've said earlier in this call, like there's a huge disconnect with ourselves and to actually find, you know, true happiness or inner peace or contentment or satisfaction in our lives, we need to tune in with ourselves. You know?
So, yeah, I agree 100% with what you're saying. Here's a question. So if you're, how do people know that intuitively eating right? Would that result in higher energy, more liveliness, better skin? Or is those the kind of things they're looking for when they're doing things right? And how they know they're doing things wrong with what they're eating? How would that manifest?
Right. So contentment is when you're doing something right. When you're able to talk to yourself nicely, that is connecting to yourself. When from a physical point of view, when you're feeling satisfied after a meal, or when you're, or after just some eating in general, when you're kind of like with the raw food stuff, it's like if you can sleep well, you know, if you're sleeping, you're finding it really, really hard to sleep, that can be a sign that you're, you know, undernourishing yourself and you're not tuned in with it. Just feeling continuously unsatisfied and like starving hungry, although it's really important to like do a bit of consistency with that, because because when I first came to raw, like I was satisfied when I was having loads of green smoothies. So I would say satisfaction, contentment, feeling like you've got energy, not being headachy or anything. Like a lot of people talk about the detox symptoms of raw food, and I think you can do if you jump into it really, really heavily, but I recommend people step into it. I don't
go slowly, don't rush yourself, don't give yourself a headache, go too fast, take a little time.
I don't think it's necessary to suffer with it. And the whole reason I came to raw food is because I was sick of suffering. I was sick of feeling like I was restricting myself and my life, and I was sick of like the battle in the mind of wanting to eat, can't eat, want to eat, can't eat. And also simultaneously, I'm a very busy woman, you know, like I've got my daughter that I, you know, home educate on my own.
I was just going to ask you about that question. Yeah, about the home. You're educating your 8-year-old daughter is going to. You're taking her out of school. Has she ever been in school? And what time, if she did you take her out?
Nursery.
Okay, nursery up to a couple of ages.
Yeah.
You went and you have to sign a piece of paper in the UK too. I'm in UK too. Do you have to sign a piece of paper to say no school or something, or just?
It depends. Generally, they the government want you to let them know that that's what you're doing, but some families don't. I did let the government know because I actually went to put her into school, and literally I just had this really horrible gut feeling that it was wrong, just completely wrong for us. We had a really hard time with nursery and everything. But so basically I searched for all the different schools that had the best policy on like their punishments, or that, you know, how they dealt with situations, and I found a school that was actually most in line with what I taught. Like they didn't do punishments. They actually, you know, if the kids had a problem, they would discuss it with them, call the parents in, and then find an appropriate solution to it. For example, write a letter to someone if they'd hurt someone's feelings, which is the sort of thing that I would do, instead of just going, okay, right, I'm taking away your golden time or whatever. It actually is more natural consequences and dealing with individual circumstances, which is what I liked a lot more. But anywho, so I got her into that school, and then it was like, it just felt wrong. And so I just started searching for home education and stuff, and found some different families who were doing it locally. So I just asked them if I could come and just see what it was like, so I could get an idea in my head. So I did that, and I saw, like, the first family I saw, they were very, very strict in their routine, and it was all very a lot of work, and I was thinking, oh God, I don't know if I've got it in me to be like, to do lesson plans and stuff like. But then the second family that I met up with, the kids were it was very much more flowy and free, and there was no fixed schedule. Like they went to groups every now and again, and events every now and again. But they follow the children's learning, and this lady is still one of my good friends to this day, and I thank her because her family dynamic really inspired me, and I literally felt my heart swell, absolutely swell, and it just like, this is it. This is what works for me, Molly. This is what I believe in, you know, because I can do a bit of like planning and facilitating of learning, and I love coming up with craft ideas and workshop ideas and stuff, and doing things with her. But at the same time, to every single day be planning lessons and stuff, I just can't do that at the same time as running a business to support the home education. Like there's just no way. Like I know I would just get overwhelmed and no one would be enjoying themselves because I'd just be a stressed mess. So finding this lady just meant it worked for us. So I had to let that school know that I didn't want the place anymore, and kind of like deregister her before she started. So in that, they passed on my details to the government, who then sent me a letter. It was like a big kind of like almost like a questionnaire with big boxes that you could write quite you know, paragraphs in. And it was just outlining what sort of things do you do for your home education, what have you got planned, what does a week look like for you guys, because you don't need to follow a curriculum or anything. You just need to be providing an adequate education, which is very subjective in a lot of ways, but I'm very confident in what I do and in my daughter. And I've never had any problems. There's a lady, like not a lady, sorry, there's a person who, like a home education, I don't know, like local authority or something, that's supposed to come and support you and contact you, but I've never been contacted by any of them. I don't know if it's because my daughter's quite young for home ed in general, like because home education age starts from 5 years old, so she's only been home educated technically for 3 years. So like I
think that's a really good sign, surely. That's a really good sign, surely, that no one's come.
Yeah,
you know, definitely.
Yeah, I did get a letter in receipt of that, the form that I filled in, saying that's an adequate education, and that people might come and just check in on you and see how you're doing. But I've never had anyone come and do anything.
But I also like how you said that, like it's an adequate education. No, it's actually a really fucking much better than adequate education, and much better than anything any school could ever provide. So that's funny. You said they say adequate education. Yeah,
well, it works for us, but then I always say, like, I've got one child, so it's like I know people that they've got maybe 5 children, and a lot of them have special needs, and then they've got young children as well, and it would be overwhelming to the mother. And again, I think it's like it's really doing things that work best for you and your family. Like for some people, they would, their family life would be miserable if they did home education.
Why would that be?
Because the parent's not in the right mind space to do it, or maybe doesn't have the tools or the motivation, or do you know what I mean? I mean, like, I'll never like judge someone for doing school or anything like that. I do think it's better for us, and I do think it has a lot of its perks. But then at the same time, I loved school. I absolutely loved school when I was at school, and I did really, really well. So I always find it quite funny that I've gone for home education, but I do think there's a lot of things that I love about it, and a lot of things that I do think are great, but I'll never I don't necessarily think it's better for every single person or every single family, because if your heart's not in it, like, it takes a huge amount of dedication to home educate a child, and it also to other single parents and stuff as well, like I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's really not easy, like, to balance working and their education and looking after a home at the same time. Like, and I try to be quite upfront about this. Like, I absolutely love my life, and I want to inspire people to take on aspects of it if they can. but I don't want any disguise over this. Like, my life is hard and I struggle sometimes, and I find it really difficult to manage and find that balance. And I feel like I'm constantly spinning plates, and it can be overwhelming. So I'm not like, I don't want to put anyone under any, like, you know, illusions
At the
that
same
this
time,
is
you're
like
a single mum,
really
right?
easy.
You're a single mum.
Yeah,
That makes it harder.
yeah,
A lot of people don't think
yeah.
aren't single mums, that sometimes they'll be in relationships and they've got two to like play around with the kids, and you know, it's double the power. So, you know, it's hard enough, right?
Yeah, every family has their difficulties. Do you know what I mean? Like, my daughter doesn't have any particular special needs or sensory disorders or anything like that. So every family has their own hardship. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, being single does put an extra strain on me, if you like. Although I know plenty of other parents who are in relationships and have a partner there, and they still feel like they're the sole person doing everything, you know. And then there's conflict between the families and undermining between the parents. There's difference in conflict between doing things the way that you want to do it. Like, I feel like I'm quite lucky that I'm single in a lot of ways, because I don't have to run my ideas by anyone. I just do what I want and what feels right for me. I don't have to take in anyone else's opinion apart from my daughter's. So it's like, every family has their own difficulties, and it's not a competition between who's struggling the most. But at the same time, I don't want to tell everyone that, yeah, you should home educate your children and run a business from home and be raw and do emotional healing all at the same time, because it's really easy and it's really fun and you're never going to struggle again in your life. Like, no, it's hard and it's continuous and it's constant. It's a choice every single day to work hard, and I work my bum off. I really do.
Cool.
Constantly, every single day. But I love it. But it might not be for everyone, and that's why I want to be so upfront about this all. Like, it's like, take on aspects of my life, if you like. Take inspiration from how much you can actually achieve when you want to do something. Like, if you want to home educate your child and you are a single parent and you love and you want to train for a half marathon, and you want to run a business, or you want to eat raw fruits and vegetables and write a recipe book, like, you can, you know, you absolutely can, because I'm living proof that you can do that. But at the same time, if that's not what you want and you feel like that's going to overwhelm you, like, you know, that's, be aware of that at the same time. Like, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Like, the healing side of it especially is like, it's painful and it's hard and it's continuous and you're triggered constantly, but you grow and you learn, and I can help other people who have been triggered in the same way, so that's beautiful too. But so there's a lot of beautiful aspects of my life, but there, you know, I don't want to hide the fact that it's also quite difficult sometimes and intense, you know.
Definitely. I see it like you're just a light worker, and as an example to other people, maybe more in the future and generations to come, it'll be more common for people like us to be existing in the world. But at the moment, we're just sporadically spread out as inspiration to help people at whatever level they're at. Doesn't mean they're going to become people like us, and we're not. Whatever reason we're at this position is just kind of luck, whatever synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. It's just, yeah, it will become more common. It will be normal, what we're doing now, this difficult life, if you want to call it difficult, hard, amazing, all this stuff. But for the time being, just, it's amazing you serving as an inspiration for that homeschooling, because we know it is tough. You know, because you're working on yourself, and then you've got to work with another person, you've got your business, you've got money you think about, you've got your emotions, your own healing, and it's so many things. And like, I can totally understand. Like, oh, my brain, it's like crazy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, I took a little bit about running. So you're quite passionate about running, right? I find this I'm curious about your running passion. Is that like is it a hobby? I think it's more than a hobby, but how did you get into running, and like what does that mean to you?
I try to keep it a hobby because like, obviously, like with my daughter, it can be quite hard to get the training in. I can't train with the club in the evenings in the winter because it's too dark to bring my daughter along or anything. In the summer, if we're doing like a session that's in a situated place, I can bring her and join in with the club. So I try to keep it a hobby, because otherwise I get upset that I can't get all the training in properly. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And yeah, I started it when my daughter was about 1. And I just wanted to get back into exercise and stuff. I actually I did this thing called buggy size. And I used to run with the buggy with a group of other mums with this the trainer. And we used to do like running sprints and stuff, and I used to win. And I was like, oh, I'm quite fast, and I decided to join a running club. And then it was just like, it just took off from there. I started in the starter group, and then I just progressed so fast up to one of the top groups. And it was like over a year I'd gone from not doing any running, like just had a baby, to being one of the top females in the club. And I was winning 5K. No, I came second in like a local 5K race.
5K? 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
5,000 meters. Yeah. So it's like 3.1 miles or something. And I got like, I did an under 20 minutes 5K, which is like a pivotal thing for runners. And got picked up by like a coach who wanted to work with me and stuff. And it was just amazing. Like I was just flying, you know. And then I had to kind of, I had to move out basically of my mum's home. And the setup initially had been like, because my mum, like I lived with my mum, she could look after my daughter while I just nipped out in the evenings and did some training and came back. Because she was going to be there anyway, my daughter was asleep. So it was kind of like, it worked. But then, you know, when I moved out, I didn't have the babysitting, and my daughter was like 2, 3 at the time. And it was just way too stressful to try and get consistent training in. So I started not enjoying it anymore. The training was flaky, and like halfway through a session I'd have to stop and sort her out, and it was just like, I don't know, do you do running or anything?
No, not in the moment. I did at school, but no.
Okay, like when you're doing a running session, it's almost like you might do like a sprint to here, or you might do a 2-minute interval, and then you have a certain amount of recovery, like a specific time, maybe a minute, and then you have to run back another way, or you're doing hill sprints or something. But it's very formulated in that you have an effort followed by a structured rest. Then you go straight into the next one. You don't wait, because you want to train your body to basically be able to run at that fast pace for a longer time. And if you're having long intervals, it doesn't like recoveries, you're not going to get the same benefits from if you're actually doing the session properly. So it would annoy me, and I was getting annoyed at my daughter, and I was getting annoyed at the session. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I was just getting frustrated. I wasn't getting as fast as I wanted to get, and it was just like, it just got stressful and horrible. So I just decided to pack it in and focus on my daughter, because I didn't like the anger I was feeling towards her. It wasn't her fault that I wanted to run, and she exists. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was such a horrible feeling to have. So I didn't want it to impede on our relationship, and I wasn't enjoying the running anymore, like I said. So I kind of gave it a rest for about 6 years. I still stayed active because I cycle everywhere with my daughter, and I cycled for years with her on the baby bike seat carrying heavy fruit. Cool. So my fitness stayed up. And then I joined the running club again this time last year, because she's 8 now, so I'm able to actually, like, you know, put her at the bottom of a steep hill and run to the top and back down, and I know she'll stay there reading her book. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I can do stuff now with her. So I've kind of started doing it a bit more again now, and I kind of just do a bit of everything. I do a bit of track running because I'm quite fast, and I've got good endurance as well from cycling everywhere constantly, so I can do longer stuff if I want, and I just kind of tweak my training to doing different things. I love 5-mile muddy cross country races. Running just sets my heart alive. I just feel like I reconnect to myself, and I let off all my steam, like all my anger, all my aggression. I just smash it into the pavement and push myself, and it just makes my whole being come alive, you know. Sorry, they're drilling.
Yeah, it's all right.
I also kind of like sorry.
It's okay, you can carry on. I think
Are you sure it's like drilling outside?
It's quite quiet. I can hear your voice well over.
You can't hear it?
No, I can hear it, but your voice is much louder than the sound. So.
Okay, cool. So yeah, like running is basically like it. To run well, you need to tune into your posture, tune into your breath, and tune into the rhythm. And that is actually how I learned to meditate. Because when I run, you go into a meditative state. And it's very profound, actually, the kind of the thoughts that come up in my mind when I'm doing a hard run. And, you know, you've got like maybe 30 seconds left of the run. You feel like your legs are killing you. They're so heavy. They're so full of lactic acid. They're painful. You feel that pain and your brain goes, that hurts, please stop. And you have to kind of just say, like, you feel the pain, but you don't react to it. You're kind of aware of it, but you work with it, and you flow with your body, and you push through it, and you realize how powerful you are, and how much more resilient than that you are, that your brain is telling you. Like, your mind is saying, stop, I can't do this, but you absolutely can. And sometimes when you think you can't do another rep, you know, I can't run another 400 meters, I feel like I'm dying. But if you just tune into that inward place, just focus on your posture, focus on the now, be mindful, just focus on that one step, just focus on this posture, this moment, you get there, you do it, and you go, I don't know how I did that. So every time I train, it's like I prove to myself how strong I am. And I also allow myself to almost like to not react so abruptly to pain, or, you know, because in your life, a lot of the time we're in this reaction mode. Something happens and we go, oh, and we immediately, we have to judge whether it's good or bad and react appropriately very, very fast. Whereas, like, it helps me be a lot more observant of the world around me and my feelings. So instead of, like, you know, just something happening and you go, oh, well, that's ruined my day, you're actually more like, oh, that thing has happened. You almost take a step back from that, and you can kind of like almost control how you're going to react to that. You're like, so I can either think, oh, that's really awful, or I can create something out of this situation. And it makes it easier for you to shift into that place of creation. And like I said, it helps me with mindfulness. Like, I literally remember this one cross-country race where I was running 5 miles, and it was literally these undulating steep hills in this muddy woodland. Love this cross-country route, by the way. It's so good. You're literally just running over roots, and also it's amazing. But literally, I remember getting halfway through the race and thinking, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to run that again. And literally all I did was, I was like, well, I'm just going to focus on right now, just improve my posture right now. Sorry, that's really loud drilling.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's not me, it's the drilling.
It's not funny. Yeah. When you're saying improve your posture, so you're very mindful when you're doing in the process of running. Like, you're actually, what you're thinking of? You're thinking of your body movements, your posture, your left to right leg ratio. What's going on?
So I focus on keeping my head up. Sometimes you dip your head down, and that can put you off balance. So I keep my head straight. I look ahead. I relax my shoulders, because sometimes you tense up like this. So I relax my shoulders, which is really good meditatively anyway, because you release that pressure and release that strain, and it's softening and flowing, isn't it? Soften and flow. So, like, also my arms. So sometimes if you're getting tired, your arms will go across you, which again wastes your energy. So it's all about being most efficient with your energy, and that will get you through as well, and also actually make you faster. So I focus on keeping my arms like this and not going across my body. Sorry. I also almost like stride out, because sometimes my stride length gets very, very short, or like just lazy. I'll try and lift my knee up a bit more, or kick up a bit more, and that will just follow me through. I keep my core a lot more up aligned, because sometimes you can slump a little bit when you're getting tired. You're like, oh, but that's just going to waste more energy. So I keep my core engaged. I kind of like, you know, try and relax my shoulders, but keeping them kind of like strong. So it's almost like, you know, yoga, if you're doing like a mountain pose, a bit like that. And just stride out, just relax and let it flow, and that really helps. And literally every time I did that, I overtook something. So it was just like, the more you tense up and the more you try to like, the harder you get, the harder it gets, you know, and the slower you get.
I wonder how many people that are doing this kind of running, professional running, are doing all the things that you're doing in terms of like mindfulness of every single. I wonder. I mean, is that normal? This is a bit off topic from health and stuff.
It's
I know,
normal.
but I know
That's what they try and get you to do, like all the coaches.
all the
And you know,
coaches.
when you're seeing a professional runner on the screen, like on telly or whatever, they run and it looks effortless, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They just look chill.
Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee you, it hurts like hell. But a good runner will be able to feel the pain and relax through it, which is a profound aspect of life, is it not?
Yeah.
You know, because we're all going through pain, but it's whether you're reacting to it constantly or whether you're actually softening and flowing with that and actually, you know, allowing the world
like
to
Tolly talks about that which resists persists. If you resist anything in life, it's 10 times harder and it's going to keep coming back and again. But if you accept at some point, you're going to transmute past the pain. At some point, the pain's just going to disappear, and that's pretty what you're doing.
Yeah. But like every single one of those runners is relaxing their shoulders, focusing on their posture, you know, and that's why it looks so easy. When you see people on the Olympics, it just looks easy. They make it look easy. They're running like, or like you see someone running a marathon at the front, you know, and they're just like, they look calm, you know, and it's because they've taught themselves how to just relax into that moment and to just feel that pain in their legs, but to run through it, you know, and to they look relaxed because they're focusing on relaxing their body and they're flowing through it. So yeah.
Do you ever go into flow states then? And it's quite meditative anyway, but is it kind of a peak experience where you just lose track of time? Would you ever lose track of time? You know, those kind of higher consciousness states, even though it's meditative anyway? You would?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I that's one of the things I love about running. It's like I zone out, completely zone out. And just completely in the moment. And I lose myself, and but in the most beautiful way, that you just stop. Like nothing seems to matter anymore. Like when you're running, it's like all that stress that you had during the day, you might have really cared that you smashed the bowl you like or something, you know, something like that. And it might have been a really big deal to you, but then you go, like I go for a run and I smash it out, and literally I just connect to myself, and I realize how trivial that stuff is, and I just no longer care, because it's just like, I don't know, it's like I'm renewed, I'm refreshed, and it just gets me out of my comfort zone, and that's really important, to get out of that comfort zone, and to I don't know, it's just wonderful.
It's kind of beautiful. I never thought about running till the way you describe it, and your experiences of it are really kind of like amazing, to be honest with you. Like it's definitely a spiritual meditative practice, and you can get a lot out of it. I don't know a lot of all this stuff that you're saying, it because you want to look at it from a mainstream point of view, know nothing. I just think, oh well, it's exercise, it's releasing endorphins, you know, the basic stuff, but actually it's a hell of a lot more. So thank you for experience.
But that's what I always say to people, like you don't have to, you know, exercise wise, you don't have to run, but running sets me alive. And what I recommend people to do is not necessarily run, but to do what sets their heart alive, you know. Because that's where, you know, all these benefits these spiritual benefits I'm getting from running, you could get from something else. You can get it from yoga or dancing or you know, even tennis, you know, something that has a flow to it that you love, that you lose yourself in, that gets your heart racing, that you can tune into, that, you know, because even someone who's playing tennis could be like, you have to really like be aware of the world around you, you know, you have to be aware of where that ball's going to be, and you know, and flow with the movements and believe in yourself, you know. And even when you get to the end of that tennis match, you might feel exhausted. You've got to be able to keep on top of it and keep that strong, and you know, and be able to bend in that way, and even though you feel like you haven't got it left in you, you still do it anyway. And then you know, so and it's all about hand-eye coordination, which is connecting you to yourself again. So literally any sport, any activity where you're connecting to your body or coordinating your body is going to be beneficial. So just do the exercise that works for you and that you literally feel like it. Do what sets you alive. Don't do what sets me alive. Do what sets you alive. Like whether that's running or judo or Tai Chi, like, or, you know what I mean? Swimming, anything. Do what you love, do what sets you life, because that's where the real kind of like happiness is. And that's when it doesn't feel like work. When I go out for a run, it's like I'm really excited to go for a run, and I'm not like, oh, I've got to go work out. It's like I get to go run, you know. And that's the excitement and the zest for life that a lot of people are lacking. It's not about moving my body for sake of it. It's not about losing weight. It's not about changing because I'm not good enough the way I am and I need to be this size or whatever. It's literally because my heart feels alive when I do that, and I just feel like I'm being me. This is what I'm meant to do. And likewise, I get to spend time with other people and meet other people that also love that and who get that and who want to talk to me about that. You know, and that's what it's all about. It's about connecting to, you know, people who share that passion and finding your passion, because that's going to make your life flow so much more. It's not going to be like, oh, here's another day that I have to get through. It's like, here's a day full of stuff that I love to do. You know, that's what you want to get to. Yeah,
that's why we're here.
Life doesn't feel like
we're
work.
For that reason, to like inspire people to and other people to like not get through life, but to, what is it, the word, actually there's a phrase from Jim Crow, a good quote: don't go through life, grow through life. I love that one. So grow, we're gonna grow. Look forward to it. I wake up every day and I'm pretty much
grow and flow.
Yeah, grow, flow, become more, face your fears, extend your comfort zone, learn, take the lessons. Life is going to be tough, but you know, it's enjoyable.
Exactly. There's a lot of crap in life. Like, there's a lot of horrible things that hurt, but not everything has to be that. Not everything has to be one of those, you know. So do take the joy where you can. And if there's something that you want, try to find a joyful way to get that. You know, and that's what I found, like, even with like raw food, like I really wanted to be healthy, but I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to be thin. Like I wanted, or like, not thin, but like I wanted to have a body that reflected health, you know. And when I was very overweight, I didn't feel like, you know, I felt like I was trying to be healthy, but I didn't look healthy. You know, I looked like I ate things that were that put weight on, basically, and that hurt my feelings, because I felt like I was trying so hard to actually, you know, really like provide my stuff with stuff that made me healthy. So like when I was searching for like raw food stuff, it's like I actually found that this was a way that I could eat that would not only make me feel good inside, but also reflect that health on the outside. It was you know, so it was like an enjoyable way of doing it. I didn't have to restrict anything. I didn't have to limit how much rice I ate, or, you know, anything like that. I could literally, like with my fruit, I literally just eat as much as I wanted until my body goes, I'm satisfied, thank you. Whereas before, it was literally like I would have to stop myself, even though I didn't feel satisfied, which I don't like. You know?
Definitely. So, your soul was like telling you one thing and your body was like working against you. Disharmony with who you really are. And now you just feel
harmony. That's it. It's harmony. And when you can harmonize with what you want and what you enjoy, bliss, you know?
Definitely, mate. Okay, I definitely want to talk about your business and stuff. So how are people finding you? What courses do you teach? Do you have YouTube and all that stuff?
I do have a YouTube, but I actually rarely go like do it. Just reasons that I could give you several reasons, but yeah, I just find it difficult. There's like a block there with YouTube. I'm trying to actually sort something out now where I'm getting someone to do the filming for me when I have a day out.
That's a really good idea to have someone film you.
Yeah, because I can't. Oh my God.
That one's loud.
Yeah, they're literally drilling right there.
Right.
I might have to cut this out. Yeah, like business wise, yeah, I have several courses that I do. So most of my stuff is all on Facebook. I find Facebook is my most popular platform. But I'm also on Instagram as Happy on Fruit. And I have courses in raw food. I have to laugh because it's just ridiculous. They're building all around my home at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a course on like raw food, emotional
So
healing.
your Instagram's raw on fruit. Your
No, happy on fruit.
happy on fruit. Apologise.
Okay.
Facebook's Rhiannon Van der Griffin. We'll put the comments up. You'll put your comment underneath, so we can find you there. What is the course? How do people find your course?
So I do have a website as well, happyonfruit.co.uk, so you can have a look at that. I actually have a raw course coming out on the 11th of November, 11/11. Which is, it's not a new one, but basically it's the same course that I provide in different formats. So this is a group course for people who want to do it with a support group. Some people prefer to do it individually, so I've got an individual package for people, and some people like to do it with coaching sessions with me, so I've got that available for people as well. But
Did you
yeah, this is a
person, or are you talking about online coaching, or both?
I rarely do people in person, to be honest. Most of my stuff is all online, because it's people who live all around the world. So yeah, that's when I mostly do my coaching. But yeah, you can check that out on happyonfruit.co.uk, and have a look in my courses folder. I've got the raw food course, inner work course, and I've also got a family reconnection course, and I've also got an emotional healing course for kids. So it takes the inner work that I do and adapts it so that children can do it in fun exercises that are accessible to children, and not so heavy. But to teach them the fundamentals, but yeah, so I've got those courses. I've also got a fruit guide ebook that teaches you all about how to pick different fruits and how to tell when they're ripe, and how to tell that they're good quality, and the calories in them, and how to use them, and how to eat them, and their pros and cons and stuff. So yeah, I've got like a 29-page ebook on that. I've also got a raw recipe book coming out over Christmas, so that's my first recipe book. But yeah, so I have a few different courses that I've got now, and yeah, they're my babies, so I'm very, very proud of them.
And so you should be, as a single man that's got such an inspirational and been on such a long journey of people. And now the thing is, a lot of people have been through a lot too. It's just what I'm really fucking proud of you as well. You put yourself in a position now to inspire people. It's not about what you've been through. It is amazing, people overcoming journeys, but the next half of life I look at is, how do you put your information out there and market yourself in a way to get as many people as possible? And it's not even about the money, I'm sure, for you, people like us. It's more about just so you can have that impact. And that's hard because it's left brain. We have to focus on the left brain too. Just how do we market ourselves? How do we get ourselves out there to help people? And you're doing a wonderful job with that, mate. I'm inspired by you. So
Thank you. I always feel like my marketing side of it's not the best, to be honest. I probably don't market as best as I could. I just try to be me and see who gravitates to that, and just do my best with what happens. I've had quite a hard last 2 years where I've struggled quite emotionally, and I found working difficult because I found it quite hard to inspire people because I felt like a mess. But yeah, I have to remind myself why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it so that I can be at home with my daughter. So even if I, struggle with money one month or whatever, which happens quite often, it's worth it because I get by. Even if I scrape by that month, I get to spend another month with my daughter, teaching and learning with her. So it's kind of beautiful. So that's why I do it. I do it because it's what I love. At the same time, I do it so that I can home educate my daughter, and even though it might be really, really hard, I'm going to, she's not going to be this age forever. When she's 18, I can go and get a more secure job if I wanted to, and then do this as my hobby. Like the coaching people, or I can do that alongside a full-time job, and I wouldn't have to worry about money again. So but and then she'll be off doing all of her stuff, and it's not permanent. This situation is not permanent. So even if I have to scrape by and feel poor for the next couple of years or anything like that, do you know what I mean, or just struggle with money, I kind of don't care, because I get to home educate my daughter, and that's the bottom line of it. I managed to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table, and even if I don't have extra things to go on holidays and stuff, I I managed to do stuff, you know, like I have friends that live in different places. We go and stay with them, and that's our holiday.
Yeah.
I find ways to live on very low money, and that's okay because I feel abundant even without that wealth.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, abundance is it's happiness, and that's nothing to do with money,
Yeah.
really. Energy and
And
how much.
I get all that time, all that connection with her, and that's the abundance I want. That's way more important. I could quite easily go put her into school and then go get a job, and we wouldn't have to worry about money again. But that's not what I want. I would rather struggle with money and have her and do home education with her. So yeah.
It's the struggle that makes us worthy, whether we're struggling with money, happiness, health, being our best selves. It's the struggle that makes us, and even people like yourself are going through it. It's no joke, is it? But it's beautiful at the same time. Okay, one last thing I'd like to ask you before you leave is there anything we haven't covered? I tried to cover all the questions, I think, but if there's anything that or last message anyway that you'd like to get off to people that are going to watch this that might be inspired or need help or anything.
Just tune in with yourself, I suppose, is like my fundamental thing, and just always listen and honor your body, because sometimes we're constantly searching outwardly for these answers, and a lot of the time outwardly comes the inspiration, these little nuggets of truth or whatever. But what the best place for people to go forward, I think, is to take these inspirations from other places, but ultimately tune in with your heart and what feels right, you know, and follow that. Just honor yourself, and love yourself anyway. Like, no matter what you've done, no matter what you're going through, just working hard to love yourself anyway.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It's beautiful, lovely. Thank you, Rhiannon, for being yourself, and I look forward to connecting with you definitely in the future. And I hope things are going great at the moment. But I look forward to your growth and evolution. I'm sure in the next 5-10 years we all turn out to be different people, and it's nice to. One of the reasons why I did this as well, selfishly, is because I like to. So I've seen you now, and I know what you're like. So when we connect again or meet up, whatever, in 2, 5, 10 years, it's be lovely to see, like, wow, this person has evolved so much. I fucking love it.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much for wanting to interview me. Like, it's been really lovely.
That's all right. Thank you. All right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rhiannon, and have a lovely day.